G'day everyone, this is Koala OM, welcome back to another video. Today we'll be looking at the scrapped Plants vs Zombies 2 content that was intended to be in the game but for some reason or another ended up unused in the game's files. Let's get right into it. So the first few levels in the game, the tutorial levels that you play before Ancient Egypt, were originally meant to have their own world map and act as their own world where you could revisit the levels. Here are the world map pieces that would have been used, and here is the artwork for the note that you would get like in every other world. I can kind of see why they didn't implement this. A tutorial world would be too small, and after all it's just meant to be a tutorial. This is probably one that many players will remember. Time Twister was meant to be the final world of the game. Here's the world icon. Time Twister would have been similar to modern day in that it combines elements of every world. If the name and icon sound familiar, this is because it was recycled for some Pinata Party levels, and the world icon was also recycled as the Penny's Pursuit icon. At least the Time Twister world snuck into the game in some little ways. These aren't unused worlds as such, but they're part of worlds that were left to rot in the game's files. Originally, Ancient Egypt, Pirate Seas, and Far Future were meant to have their own minecarts, like the ones from Wild West. The sprites were found, and it's interesting to see what they would have looked like. Similarly, gravestones were found for Pirate Seas, Wild West, and Far Future. Oddly, there were also gravestone sprites found for Lost City and Frostbite Caves. It's quite strange. I don't know what the purpose of these extra gravestones and minecarts would have been apart from them just existing for the fun of it. The developers planned on adding expansion levels to Dark Ages, like the ones they added to Ancient Egypt and other worlds. The expansion zombies that would have been added include the Castle Head zombie, which would have been the equivalent of the Brickhead zombie, the Peasant Rally zombie, which would have been the faster flag zombie of the expansion, and the Veteran Wizard zombie, which would have been a wizard zombie but turning plants to sheep a lot faster. Thank God they didn't add that one. Overall, I think it's a shame that they didn't add more levels to Dark Ages. This would have made the world a properly length world rather than just 20 levels. But it doesn't really matter now anyway, since all the expansion levels have been demoted to epic quests. The marigold was at some stage considered to be a regular plant that you could plant in levels, rather than the Zen Garden exclusive marigold we know today. When planted, it would produce silver coins until falling asleep after some time. Its plant food ability would have made the marigold disappear in a burst of silver coins. So the Scaredy Shroom from Plants vs Zombies 1 was meant to make a return in this game through the Dark Ages. In case you haven't seen it from the first game, the Scaredy Shroom is like a pea shooter that hides when a zombie gets close to it, hence the name Scaredy Shroom. There are also a bunch of other unused mushrooms from Dark Ages, including Pult Shroom, which was similar to Blooming Heart, Zoom Shroom, which was similar to Chard Guard, Vacuum Shroom, which was similar to Sweet Potato, Dart Shroom, which was a 100 sun cost attacking plant, and Roto Shroom, a 175 cost attacking plant whose direction of attack would be changed between 8 fixed directions by the player. It's a shame all of these mushrooms went unused since almost all of the Dark Ages plants are just copy-pastes from the first game. Okay, this one is pretty hilarious, but the leaves that fall from the sky when you activate Holy Barrier are actually their own separate plants. Obviously, this isn't an intended feature, but it's unused nevertheless. There was meant to be a 25 sun cost mini pea shooter. I don't know what else to say really. Mini pea shooter? Sun Pod was a 300 sun cost plant that would be similar to the pea pod but grows a head for every 500 sun you had saved up. Sun Gun was a 50 sun single use plant that would draw in all the sun from the lawn and use it to shoot at zombies. What's interesting about these two is that they were accidentally leaked in the Neon Mixtape Tour Side B Dev Diary. Nice one, PopCap. Spikeweed's plant food ability was originally meant to look like this, probably releasing a saw at the zombies. This is probably where the idea for the Iceweed's plant food ability came from. The Burnade was a single-use plant that was originally meant to make a zombie explode, dealing damage in an area around it, the damage being equal to its health. Imagine using this on a Gargantua, or even Zomboss. An ice variant of the electric current called Icy Current was meant to be released. This would have costed 150 sun and formed ice connections to slow down zombies. It's unfortunate that this one was actually fully developed and released in the Chinese version of Plants vs Zombies 2. Why couldn't they just translate it over? Then again, there's a lot of exclusive things in the Chinese version. A lot of plants originally featured different sun costs. There were a bunch, but I'll list a few notable ones. Sapling was originally meant to cost 250 sun. Ouch. Chardguard was originally meant to cost 50 sun. That would have been so OP. Goldleaf was originally a 400 sun cost plant. This is the biggest difference in sun cost out of all these early versions, since it released at a sun cost of 0 sun. Primal Pea Shooter was 125 sun. Like Chardguard, this would have been so unbelievably overpowered. And Perfume Shroom was going to cost 0 sun. This kind of makes sense for Perfume Shroom since a few other world specific plants like Hot Potato, Goldleaf, and Gravebuster also cost 0 sun. Cleopatra Zombie is a well-known one. It was meant to be a zombie in ancient Egypt, presumably that spawned zombies around it like the dancing zombie in the original game. Again, this is another feature that I'm confused about. Why didn't they just add it? The Neon Mixtape Tour Flag Zombie was originally meant to look like this, with a ZTV flag parodying MTV. This is pretty funny, I don't know why they didn't just keep it like this. And finally we have the Barrel Zombie, a Dark Ages zombie that was also found in the game's files. Its concept is taken from the Barrel Zombie from Plants vs Zombies Adventures. Functionally, it would have worked the same as the Pharaoh Zombie from ancient Egypt. So, what do you think about these unused pieces of content? Which one would you like to see in the game most? Let me know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, I have a lot more like this one on my channel. Be sure to check them out.